Good morning, everybody. Happy hump day. Um, I decided to have a little change of scenery for today's life lesson. It actually works out pretty perfectly. This week, we have been talking all about self-care. On Monday, we learned about meditation and its health benefits. Yesterday, we learned about spending time with our pets, and we spent some time with Mr. Feeney and saw his tricks yesterday. And today is about getting outside. And it works out perfectly because it's been raining so much the past few days. And it's been gloomy and cloudy and gross. And I haven't been able to go outside. And that's been really kind of taking a toll on me. Because before that, I'd been making an effort to go outside and take a walk every day. And usually I do my walk in the afternoons after I am done with all my work for the day. But today I decided to take it at the beginning of the day because it has been so long since I've been able to get outside. But I wanted to take a moment and be a little vulnerable with y'all. This past couple of weeks have been almost surreal. And as a teacher, when all this started happening, I just went into crisis mode. Here's the problem, I need to solve the problem mode. And those of you that know me know that I do that incredibly well. But I think that, and I think that all my students, all of you guys are doing that too. Everyone's really jumping in feet first and just taking on this crisis so well. But I realized yesterday that I haven't really taken a moment to really let this sink in, what's currently happening. And I think that it's important for us to feel those emotions instead of trying to kind of push them down to be able to move forward. And I think it's important that we live in that emotion for a minute. And so I'm going to let myself be vulnerable so that I can be honest with you and encourage you to do the same. Yesterday I was really sad, and the past couple of weeks had been very, very trying and very difficult because it's not just, our whole lives are changing right now, and we are currently in the middle of making history. This is something that when my children someday are in high school, they will have a chapter on the year 2020 and talk about the coronavirus. And they're going to come home and say, Mommy, Daddy, our assignment today is to talk to our family about what it was like to be alive during the coronavirus. So, we're making history right now. And I think that, and I know that I'm doing this as well, is I've been kind of shoving down my emotions to survive and to try and make the best out of this situation, which is, I think, good. But I think we also need to identify the emotions that we are feeling and deal with those. And yesterday, I was incredibly sad. It had been rainy for the past few days, so I had been in the house, not going outside for like 3 or 4 days. And as an extrovert, that was killing me. And I was doing everything that I could to try and combat that. FaceTiming with my friends and things like that. But, throughout the day yesterday, I was having my lessons with my students, and that brought me such incredible joy to see your faces, to be able to talk and have a conversation with each of you, and just to hear your voices. It filled my heart, and it brought me such incredible joy. And then on the flip side of that coin, it also brought sadness that I'm not getting to see my students every day like I'm used to. Some of you for an hour, some of you for 2 hours, some of you for 3 hours who have other classes with me. And, so it also made me very sad as well. So I had that. And then when Governor McMaster made the announcement of, we're going to continue to close the schools until April 30th, I felt a lot of anger. I know logically that is the best decision. And, my husband is a scientist. He was saying, I knew that this was going to happen and it's what's for the best. And I was like, I know it's what's for the best, but I'm angry. I feel I need someone to be angry with me about this. I don't get to see my children. I call you all my children. You are my children. I don't get to see my children. I don't get to leave the house. And it was just, I felt anger. But, he talked with me and said, it's what's for the best. It's what's going to be best for the country. And it's only a short amount of time. And so I pushed that anger aside to try and move forward. But if there's one thing I've learned in life about emotions and pushing things aside, is that when you keep them deep down for so long, eventually it's going to explode. I like to give the analogy, Sammy actually came up with this analogy of you are a pot, and each time you shove something down, another emotion, you're adding more water to your pot. But eventually your pot is going to get full and your pot is going to overflow. Now for me, that overflowing, it can come as crying, it can come as yelling, or if it's really bad and really stressful, it can come out as a panic attack, where I've had panic attacks before. And so I think that it's important that we resolve those emotions so that we're not shoving them into our pot to the point of being overflowed. And I realized yesterday when my pot did overflow, which I'll talk about in a minute, that I haven't been processing the emotions that I've been feeling with this public health crisis. I've just been in crisis solving mode and trying to overcome, but I haven't been addressing those emotions that I'm feeling. And so after I felt the anger about our new April 30th date, I felt sad again, that I'm not going to see my students, that I'm not going to see my colleagues, that, my life is changing right now. And then it's usually the funniest things that cause our pot to overflow. And it's usually something small. And so yesterday mine was something small, and it was kind of silly. But I was FaceTiming with a very good friend of mine who lives in Baltimore. And he and his wife were telling me all about the new Animal Crossing game and how much we needed to play it. Well, we don't have a Nintendo Switch. And Sammy's been trying to convince us to get a Nintendo Switch for years, talking about how we need it. And I'm always like, we already have a PS3, a PS4, a Wii U, and a gaming computer. We don't need another gaming console. But I started thinking about it. I said, I guess now would be the time to get a new gaming console. And what appealed to me the most was I would be able to play with my friends online. So my friends that live in Baltimore, I would be able to play Animal Crossing with them. I could play Mario Kart with them. And it would be a great way to socialize. And I was seeing this as a way to cope with being stuck in the house as an extrovert, as a way that I could help myself cope with this public health crisis. And so Sammy and I talked, and we decided, yes, let's go ahead and get a Nintendo Switch. And so, like anybody living in the year 2020, I go to Amazon. We have an Amazon Prime account. And I already knew that, Amazon was experiencing some delays. I had ordered some things. We usually get 2-day delivery, and I had ordered some things that was going to take a week to deliver. My best friend who lives in New York City, Bradley, his birthday was last week, and I had ordered some items on Amazon on March 23rd to send to him in New York City, which, if you've been following the news, you know how crazy things are in New York City right now. And so I ordered it on March 23rd, and it's not going to get to him until April 21st, which, you know, that's just crazy. So I knew that Amazon was already kind of struggling with delivery and meeting the demand. But when I went on Amazon, they were completely sold out of Nintendo Switches. And none of the third-party sellers on Amazon had any available. And that kind of hit me for a minute. It's not about, you know, I'm upset that I don't get this toy. I want this toy. It was more of a realization of, this is kind of a new normal. I went and I checked Target's website. I checked Walmart's website, and they didn't have any available for delivery, and there weren't any in local stores. And, you know, Sammy, being the good husband that he is, was trying to comfort me. He's like, you know, everybody had the same idea that we did and just wanted to, wanted to play games at home. And so we'll come up with something else, and was trying to comfort me. But I felt my pot overflowing, and it wasn't anger or yelling. I started to cry, and just had these tears coming down my face. It wasn't like a sobbing, tears just started coming. And Sammy's like, oh my, are you okay? What's wrong? And I was like, this is so different. I felt like the walls were closing in on me. I felt my freedoms that I've grown up with being taken away, not being able to leave when I want, not being able to go where I want to go when I want to go there, not being able to buy what I want to buy when I want to buy it. And I felt all that kind of slip away. And that was the point that my pot boiled over, because I hadn't dealt with these emotions that I had been experiencing about this public health crisis. I had been shoving them down for the sake of trying to move forward. So my purpose with this video today is to encourage you to experience your emotions. I know that on social media, and especially a lot coming from teachers, we are trying to put this best foot forward kind of mentality, which we should be doing. We are trying to encourage and inspire, and we are putting on this face of, we can do this, which is good. I'm not saying that that's not good. But I think that a lot of times with that mentality, we forget that feeling these emotions of sadness, anger, frustration, that's completely normal. And we need to identify those emotions. We need to experience those emotions so that we can overcome them and best move forward. So what I challenge you to do today, now that it's done raining, I want you to go for a 10-minute walk. I'm still walking. It's been more than 10 minutes, but that's okay. I want you to go for a 10-minute walk, and don't take your phone. Don't go with somebody. I just want you to be there with your thoughts, and I want you to think about what you're feeling with all of this. Identify that emotion that you are experiencing. It could be frustration, anger, sadness, any emotion, and what is making you feel that way. Once we understand that, we can move forward with it, and you can start looking at the things that you can control and the things that you can't control. So last night, as I was feeling sadness, as I felt these personal freedoms be kind of taken away and dissolving, I was able to identify that emotion, identify why I felt that way, and then I could look at it from a different angle of, okay, what about this situation can I control? Can I do something about? and what can't I control. So I cannot control when we go back to school. So I need to let that go because that's not something that I can control. It's okay to be upset about it, but I don't want to let that stir because why get myself riled up about it when I can't control it? So I can't control that. I can't control that we need to stay at home right now and not go out as frequently. That's not something that I can control. I cannot control Amazon not having things. But some of the things that I can control, I can control my daily actions. I can control what I choose to do during the day. So this morning, I chose to start my day with a walk instead of ending my day with a walk because I wanted to be outside. I wanted to hear the birds. I wanted to see all the beautiful flowers that are currently blooming because of the rain. And my allergies are better because the rain washed away all the pollen. I can control the activities that I do at home. I can FaceTime with my friends. I can, I ordered some new coloring books so I can be coloring. So that's your challenge for today. Take a 10-minute walk. On your walk, I want you to identify the emotion that you are feeling, what is causing that emotion, and then with that, what is causing that emotion, what can you control about that, and then do something. And then what can't you control about that, and let that go. I know that this was a long talk this morning, but I feel that it's something that would be beneficial for you. And if you would like to talk to me about what your emotions are, you're more than welcome to do that. Feel free to send me a reminder or an email, or I have lessons scheduled for all day today, so we can talk about it in your lesson. But if you've already had your lesson, we can talk tomorrow, and we can schedule a FaceTime session or a Google Meet session for us to talk about this. Now, I'm not a counselor, and I'm not a psychiatrist or a psychologist, but I can listen to what you have to say and help you the best that I can based on my own experiences. So know that I love each and every one of you. I think about you every single day. I miss you terribly, but I know that we are going to get through this, and I can control my outlook on this. So I am choosing to be positive and to move forward in a positive way, knowing that we can overcome this. Miss T, signing out.